Who was your favorite Golden Girl?
She put the gold into the Golden Girls.
I'm almost sure that I don't have to ask this, but you are aware the toilet water comes in a bottle. When they were handing the script out, it said Dorothy, a Bea Arthur type.
The real Bea is nothing like the domineering characters she has played on TV.
Everybody in New York said, what was Bea Arthur like? Did you get along all right? You know, she scared you to death? I said, scare? What are you talking about?
She's an extraordinarily private person. If you ask me who lives at home in that head, I honestly couldn't tell you.
The character she played in Golden Girls was 180 degrees from the quiet, reticent woman that Bea Arthur is in real life.
She'd just rather stay home and walk around with no shoes on.
She gave up her own happiness to make people laugh.
It took a toll on my marriage, on my family life.
And hers was a career that almost didn't happen.
She said, you have the talent. It's a matter of bone structure. At which point I thought, I'll get even with you, you miserable.
Now, with over 50 years in show business, Bea Arthur is getting the last laugh and telling her story for the first time.
All in all, I've had a damn good life.
She's also singing about it.
In his eyes, it just amazes me.
Now, the story of a woman who became an unlikely diva. This is Lifetime's intimate portrait of Bea Arthur.
I think I can handle this relationship with Dirk. I'm going out with him Saturday night.
Was there ever any doubt?
Momentarily. This is strictly off the record, but Dirk's nearly 5 years younger than I am.
Then what, Blanche? Dog years?
For 7 years, Bea Arthur made television audiences laugh with her clever comebacks on The Golden Girls.
We did extraordinary work on Golden Girls. And of course, the thing is on now 3 hours a day, all over the world, you know, and everyone loves it.
With the ongoing replays of the show, I think right now we're on 6 times a day all over the country. You can't walk through an airport. I mean, you check in your luggage and the skycap hugs you, which is lovely.
We became a family. And it's a cliche, but it's particularly true in show business.
We had the happiest set. Everybody who came to visit said, all of our guest stars said, wow, it's always fun to be here because there's no problem. There's no ego going on, no strife. Everything's lovely. And it was. It was.
As Dorothy Zbornak, Bea Arthur was the show's voice of reason.
She represented an aisle of sanity who could look at the other 3 characters from the audience's perspective. And she was able to deliver that week after week.
Bea was surprised to discover her talent for comedy nearly 30 years earlier while singing off-Broadway.
At the time, I still took myself very seriously, but I had a song by myself. It was called the Barbara Song. And the lyrics were, I used to believe in the days I was pure. And the audience started laughing, and they wouldn't stop. And I thought, wait a minute. And then I thought, yeah, of course, that's funny. I was doing it from the heart. And I suddenly realized, now I know what comedy is. It was such a revelation. It was like comedy is being terribly serious.
But Bea already knew this from her childhood. As an awkward young girl, she often hid behind her wild sense of humor.
I think I was as tall at age 12 as I am now. And so I was the class clown.
Bea Arthur was born Bernice Frankel to parents Philip and Rebecca Frankel in New York City.
the year I shall forget about.
When the Depression hit, the family, including 4-year-old Bernice and her baby sister Kay, moved to the small Eastern Shore town of Cambridge, Maryland.
I got rid of my real name, which I hated, because a lot of boys in town were named Bernice also, except it was spelled B-U-R-N-I-C-E. And in Cambridge, Maryland, it was pronounced Bernice.
Bea's father owned a well-known clothing store, but the Frankels stood out as one of the few Jewish families in the small seaside town.
It was a beautiful place to grow up, but it was very barren creatively, really.
Shy, sensitive, and an oddity among her classmates, Bea found an escape in performing.
Mostly I played boys' parts because I was so tall. And at that age, and all I wanted to be was a little blonde starlet, you know, who sang and danced.
But Bea faced a few setbacks along the way. At the age of 16, she became seriously ill.
I had some kind of blood problem. My blood wouldn't clot. It was very difficult for me, so I ended up going to boarding school for the last 2 years of high school. Eventually, everything was restored. Everything was fine.
After high school, Bea wanted to get out of Cambridge. To do so, she decided to put acting aside for a more practical profession.
I liked chemistry, so I thought I will be a medical technician. And I spent a year at a place called the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia and became a licensed medical technician. I interned at our local hospital for a summer. And then I thought, I'm not happy running urines. I really am not. I mean, this is fine, but I want to be a star. I want to be a little blonde starlet. That's what I really want to be.
Bea auditioned for the well-known dramatic workshop at the New School in New York City.
I finally talked my folks into it. I really want to pursue this. I really want to pursue it.
Bea had no problem adjusting to city life.
It was quite wonderful, and it was my first time really in New York at a cold water flat, for which I paid $15 a month, with a toilet out in the hall and a bathtub in the kitchen next to a sink. And it was the most exciting time of my life, because there I was in New York.
It was during her drama school days that Bea married a young playwright named Robert Allen Arthur. Arthur later became one of the great writers of the golden age of television. But his marriage to Bea didn't stand the test of time.
I think a lot of it had to do with, again, getting out of the Eastern Shore of Maryland and not really knowing what I wanted. And then, of course, when I realized, no, I want a career and I want to be a starlet, and nothing is going to stand in my way.
Divorced and determined to make it in New York, Bea kept up her training and found her height and voice were assets in classical theater.
I was this tall lady with enormous breasts and a very deep voice. And Erwin Piscator cast me in all of these classical roles. I mean, I didn't know my ass, you know. I really wasn't talented. I declaimed a lot, and I looked quite stunning, you know, standing there with everything and the voice.
Bea wasn't as lucky on Broadway.
You know, then I decided, well, what the hell? I had a very low, sexy voice. I thought, I'll start singing.
One of Bea's first jobs was singing at a nightclub called the Blue Angel.
I sang the song, but then I was so uptight, I didn't even know enough to say, you know, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And for my next number, you know, I would just kind of stand there until I heard the introduction to the next number.
It wasn't long before the owner of the club fired Bea.
He said to me, you know, Bea, you're so tall and imposing and obviously in charge that nobody is going to believe you when you talk about, you know, your man done left you and you're going to throw yourself in the ocean. He said, they won't believe that. He said, you know, you really should try your hand at comedy.
In 1947, Bea and some of her dramatic workshop classmates formed their own off-Broadway theater company. One of those classmates was a talented actor named Gene Saks.
He used to do comedy things, and he could do voices, and I just thought, and he had everybody laughing, and I thought, God, how talented and how wonderful.
A romance soon developed. Bea and Jean married in 1950.
We were living together, but he didn't tell his folks. And so he said that we had to get married, or he was moving out. So I said, okay. I really didn't want to get married again, but I thought, you know, rather than be without him. So we got married.
Though hesitant at first, Bea found new confidence in marriage. She was cast in several touring variety shows, and in 1953, she had her comedic breakthrough in the off-Broadway musical, The Threepenny Opera.
It changed my life completely, of course. I mean, once you hear a laugh like that, you know, there's no stopping. But since then, I love playing comedy. And it's as though after that, everything happened for me.
Suddenly, Bea's stage career took off, and in 1954, she made an everlasting impression on a young writer named Norman Lear.
I went to a Broadway show called Shoestring Review, and the curtain parted at one moment in this production, and a woman, a big woman, a beautiful big woman, was leaning against a lamppost, swinging a purse, as I remember. And she sang a song called Garbage, a torch song. And every time Beatrice Arthur sang the word garbage in that voice so unique to her, it was unforgettable.
In 1956, Bea was asked to understudy former screen goddess Tallulah Bankhead in the famed Ziegfeld Follies.
She appeared at the head of this staircase in a white form-fitting satin gown with a white fur floor-length stole. She was so gorgeous anyway, and she took her time coming down the staircase to this tumultuous applause. And I thought, my God, I thought that stage presence.
After the show, Bea got a rude awakening from the famous prima donna.
He said, you know, you, Beatrice, you know, you, divine Beatrice, and you were the only one who asked me what it was like coming down that staircase. And I know what you were thinking. You were thinking, it could never happen to me. What does it feel like? Which I didn't know what to say. She said, I want to tell you something, dear. It's strictly a matter of bone structure. She said, talent, because you have the talent. It's a matter of bone structure. At which point I thought, I'll get even with you, you miserable.
As a young actress, Bea Arthur never thought she'd play a leading lady.
Let's face it, until Streisand arrived on the scene, nobody could become a leading lady, you know, unless they were magnificent looking.
At 5'9" with a baritone voice, Bea could be quite intimidating.
That voice, you just hear it. Hello, George. Oh my God, it's Bea.
But her appearance didn't matter. Her comedic talent was strong, and television came calling.
As a result of the Ziegfeld Follies, I started getting asked to do what we call under fives, meaning if you had under 5 lines, they had to pay you very little. And I would be called on to work doing under 5s with various comedians. I did a number with Sid Caesar, which I adored.
In 1959, Norman Lear called Bea to be a regular on The George Gobel Show.
George Gobel was one of the great successes of television in the 1950s.
Norman was out here in L.A. Doing that, and he called me and asked me, told me that he had seen me in Shoestring Review, if I'd like to come out. Well, of course, I mean, anything. I mean, we had no money, we had no jobs, and came out, and I was a regular on it. But we only did 3 or 4 shows, and then the thing ended.
When the show ended, Bea and her husband, Gene Saks, returned to New York, but her relationship with Norman was just beginning.
Norman and I just became very, very close friends.
Back in New York, Gene found substantial success as a Broadway director, and Bea decided to turn her focus toward family matters. It was during this time that the couple had 2 sons, Matthew, born in 1961, followed by Daniel 2 years later.
She was always an affectionate mom growing up. She was always hugging us and holding us and caressing us and running her fingers through our hair.
Bea was a very, very loving mother. She was a very involved mother. She was terribly interested in her boys.
When we were little, you know, my mom was, she was always emotional. It didn't take much to get her to cry out of happiness or sadness or whatever.
It was a happy time for the family who divided its weeks between a Manhattan apartment and a country house in upstate New York.
She loved the country, you know. She loved us kids having the swimming pool and, you know, the dogs having free rein and being able to run everywhere.
We were just a regular family, so we thought, you know, and we really were. There were great times when we were little.
But in 1964, Jean contracted hepatitis, and it was Bea who became the Broadway breadwinner in the hit musical Fiddler on the Roof.
I stayed with it for a whole year because Jean was quite ill at the time with hepatitis. So I was like really the sole breadwinner that year.
Jean's health gradually improved, and by 1966, he was hired to direct the Broadway musical Mame.
I know she wanted to play Mame, and I think that Gene Sachs, her husband, probably put her forward as a possibility to play it before I kind of came into the picture big. And so I don't think she ever quite got over it. I can say that in all honesty, and I think she would agree.
Of course, Angie got the part. I guess it was a matter of bone structure.
Disappointed, Bea took the supporting role of Mame's best friend, Vera Charles.
Curtain calls came, and of course there was the cast, and the next to the last curtain call was Angie and me.
And we came down the stairs. Not together, you understand, because Mame came first.
She was dressed in white, and I was dressed in black. And I remembered saying, the next time I come out in a show, I am going to be wearing white. That to me was like, that means I have arrived.
Both Bea and Angela walked away with Tony Awards that year.
She got it for lead actress in a musical, and I got it for supporting actress in a musical in the black dress.
Despite having to wear the black dress, Bea formed a lifelong friendship with her co-star.
We have this extraordinary relationship, which you say these two people don't belong together, but we actually get along very well.
We could be sisters, except we don't fight and hate each other, you know what I mean? There's such tremendous respect for each other's talent.
In addition to the friendship, Bea and Jean's creative collaboration brought their family closer together.
Gene thought Bea was very, very funny. You know, he always thought she made him laugh. She really did. He was tickled by her. And they had these two little boys, you know, Danny and Matthew. And so they had a family going.
Both my parents' careers were really happening, were really doing well. So they were getting big jobs all the time and doing on Broadway, and my dad was making movies.
After a year on Broadway, Bea again took time off to be a stay-at-home mom. Jean started to direct films, and in 1971 went to Los Angeles for a job. Bea was set to join him when she got a call from Norman Lear. It was the call that would change her life forever. In 1972, Bea Arthur did the unthinkable.
They uprooted us all from New York.
She was lured to Los Angeles by her good friend, producer Norman Lear.
When he did All in the Family, and it was so very popular, he called me and asked me to come out and play a part. And I said, oh, please. I didn't want to come out. I said, first of all, I don't like flying. And what if if you write something for me and I don't like it? I said, I'd feel terrible, you know, because you're my friend, and I couldn't say no.
Bea played Edith Bunker's cousin Maude, a liberal, 5 times married feminist who was the first to put Archie Bunker in his place.
I wanted to see him beaten, verbally beaten.
Apparently it was the first time anyone had ever spoken back to Archie Bunker.
It was very clear to all of us that there was a show in this woman and this character.
Norman called me the next day after we did it and said, they're giving you your own series. So out we came.
that was kind of changed our lives because we all moved from New York to California.
Gene did not want me to take it because it involved moving out to California. You know, and his job, his profession was in New York. But we talked it over, and I think he thought it's too good a deal not to.
A product of the feminist movement, Maude was unlike anything previously on American television. She was middle-aged, strong, and opinionated.
We've been through an awful lot together. All a lot. 6 husbands, your 2, my 4.
The combination of Bea Arthur and Norman Lear was pure genius because Norman had thoughts that only Bea could really convey.
We shared a sense of madness. And, you know, you can't be mad in the way I mean mad without a deep, deep understanding of the human condition. And this is what made her so exquisitely funny.
The show presented tough issues with sincerity and humor.
Vivian, I'm pregnant.
But it wasn't without its share of controversy.
Norman liked to include in his comedy things that pertain to what was happening in the real world, like chemical dependency, alcoholism, abortion.
I mean, my God, that was the first time anybody even discussed abortion, let alone had one.
I think the way it was treated was very graceful and real. She was supposed to be 49, and this was definitely an unexpected menopausal baby, and she agonized over the decision.
Just tell me, Walter, that I'm doing the right thing, not having the baby.
For you, Maude, for me. In the privacy of our own lives, you're doing the right thing.
I love you, Walter Findlay.
Of course, we got a lot of mail. We got a hell of a lot of mail. And, but I never felt threatened.
The controversial episode made Bea an unwitting hero for the cause.
They thought of me as Joan of Arc, and I wasn't that at all. I really wasn't that at all. I mean, I never went around getting people to sign petitions.
Bea the person was vastly different from Maude.
Bea is somebody who needs a lot of support. There's no question about it.
She comes on, very strong, but actually, as a person, she's quite a gentle soul, you know.
Her sort of sensitivity and vulnerability generally it didn't show. It wasn't a part of what was needed for Maude, so it wasn't there. But it's very much there in person.
This was particularly true when it came to Jean.
It was quite amazing, the difference between the way she treated her husband and the way Maude treated her husband.
God'll get you for that one.
Because Maude was, very strident and very in charge and assertive, and Bea was very placating and very sweet and soft-spoken to Jean. And very, you could see that something was wrong in the balance.
Unfortunately, at the time that Maude came about, Jean's career was not going that fabulously.
Bea had become a superstar, and Jean was standing in her shadow.
He would sometimes just get shoved out of the way at these functions that they would go to.
I don't think there's anything more difficult in life than for a man who has a talent, who needs to be working, such as in the case of Jean, to be tied into a situation that he found himself with Bea. I mean, it's obvious that could cause a rift in their marriage.
Definitely, my dad still admits that, it was, he didn't like all that attention that she was getting.
In Fallen Angel, all of my clothes were done by Chanel. She said to me, Cherie. She always used to call me Cherie. Oh, driver, right here. Now, right up ahead.
To make matters worse, Jean directed Bea in the film version of Mame in 1976.
Cherie, she said, clothes not only make the woman, clothes make the world. Oh, she's brilliant. Sell her own mother, but brilliant.
The movie bombed, and while Bea's career was left intact, Jean's suffered.
For him, it was very unsettling, very unsettling. And he missed New York. I mean, he felt that's where his muse is,
Bea struggled to save the marriage which had come to mean the world to her.
The essence of the relationship was tremendous respect for talent and also having a wonderful husband and father, which he is, and was. But it's so intercut by career.
It seemed like the careers were pulling them apart geographically.
Bea and Jean divorced in 1979, and Jean went on to huge success as a Broadway and film director. Bea's career continued to flourish. During Maude's 7-year run, she received 5 Emmy nominations and 1 win.
I just want to say that, yes, I was prepared. I suddenly realized what Maude means to me, and I just want to thank everybody, and I love all of you, and I love you.
But victory was bittersweet.
It took a toll on my marriage, on my family life. I wish I had been around more. I wish I had spent more time with the kids. But, oh, God, it was so rewarding.
After 7 successful years as the star of Maude, Bea Arthur decided it was time to move on.
Norman and the network wanted to continue the show, but I thought, we've done 6 years, and we've done such terrific work. We're not going to do it any better. So let's leave it. Let's drop it and leave, on a real high.
After 7 years on the hit show Maude, Bea Arthur was making guest appearances and looking for work.
This year, the producers promised that my participation would be short and dignified.
We were doing the American Comedy Awards. And on one of the first American Comedy Awards, we got Bea to come in and do an introduction. And she became like a vital part of the success of the American Comedy Awards. And every year we came up with something that was, more and more unbelievable.
Bea hosted her own television special and appeared on a number of sitcoms and variety shows.
I was doing bits and pieces here and there where I would be anything but Maude.
Please bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 6 weeks since my... What?
Please bless me, Mother. I am Mother Ann, the first woman priest in this parish.
After another go at series television in 1983 and a brief return to Broadway, Bea got a surprising call.
An agent that I had at William Morris called me and said, what is this? I hear you're doing a new series. And I said, no, what are you talking about? He said, yes, it's something called Golden Girls. I said, never heard of it. But I finally realized later, it was when they were handing the script out, it said Dorothy, a Bea Arthur type.
The Golden Girls was about the lives and loves of 4 women of a certain age living in a Florida retirement community.
We don't see women of a certain age unless they're playing an adult's mother. They're characters, but they're not front and center.
Honestly, Sophia, to hear you tell it, you'd think all we do is fight. Hey, I didn't say all we do is fight. We also talk about sex.
The producers needed to find 4 older actresses who could pull off the show's racy humor.
The man of Blanche's boudoir.
It's a calendar. Each month has the picture of a man who's brought some special joy into my life.
I read Blanche, and he said, thank you very much, and I went home, and the next thing I know, I've been called in to come in again, and so is Betty White. And they liked it. So now they'd already hired Estelle Getty to play Sophia.
The only part left to cast was the practical-minded Dorothy Zbornak.
I think we heard in the creation of this, we heard Bea's voice.
Oh, Blanche, oh, honey, this is so thoughtful. Whoa!
They want Bea Arthur, and Bea Arthur wants no part of it.
Head writer Susan Harris also championed Bea. Ironically, it was Harris who had written the controversial abortion episode of Maude years earlier.
I get a call from Susan Harris. She said, Rue, can you help us? Can you call Bea and tell her what she's missing out on, and this is wonderful. And I said, I've been wanting to work with her again ever since Maude. It's already been, what, 5 or 6 years? And I said, I've always wanted to work. Yes, I will.
Bea read the script. The rest is history.
I was so taken with the script and the writing that it didn't even dawn on me that we were all elderly women.
It was the best script. It was just a wonderful script. And we were so excited about how good it was and the fact that they sent it to us.
The Golden Girls set a new standard for the over 50 set. The show's 4 female leads were empowered, emotional, and were still getting a piece of the action.
Well, I just want to be svelte for Barry.
Barry Glick is very important to you.
Barry was the man that I wanted to be the first.
First where?
On Mars, Rose.
Everybody loved it. They stood up and cheered. I mean, we knew. It was obvious.
What wasn't obvious was that at home, Bea was having a difficult time caring for her elderly mother.
My father had died a number of years before I came out to do Maude. And so she came out, was living independently here. But toward the end, and by the year that I started Golden Girls, she was almost totally blind and almost totally deaf. She finally decided she would come out and stay with me.
She really didn't want to live. I got the feeling, although Bea never talked about it to me, that there was a great sadness there. Great sadness.
It's a pretty rough year. Pretty rough year. A lot of drinking and carrying on.
Bea's mother died just as Golden Girls was becoming a hit. Through it all, Bea was a consummate professional, and in the wake of her grief, she continued to make people laugh.
Blanche, are you pretending you just found your first gray hair again?
The show won its share of accolades over its 7-year run. In 1988, the Golden Girls swept the Emmy nominations.
And the winner is Beatrice Arthur, the Golden Girl.
But it was Bea who took home the award.
Working with the 3 ladies is, as I said earlier, there's not a dud in the crowd. You know what I mean? It's beautiful.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out until we grow.
I don't know if all that's true, but you got me, and baby, I got you.
One of my very favorite Golden Girls where Estelle had entered us in a mother-daughter beauty contest at Shady Pines. And for the talent section, we played Sonny and Cher.
Babe. I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
The Golden Girls ran for 7 successful seasons.
For the first 5 years, we were never out of the top 10. And that's a lovely feeling.
We became a family. And it's a cliche, but it's true. It's particularly true in show business, because you get the innermost part of somebody if you're with them 5 days a week and for hours on end, and just interfacing with each other.
But again, Bea felt like it was time to leave on top and move on.
We did extraordinary work on Golden Girls, and so after 7 years, I had signed for the last 2 years. I thought it really is time to leave. We've done it. We've done it. We can't top this. And I know I did the right thing.
Our ratings were on top and on top and on top for the longest time. It was a wonderful experience for me, and a wonderful experience for Betty White. Bea was never quite happy never quite happy. So that after 6 years, I wasn't even sure she'd come back for the 7th. She did, luckily. But then she said adios. She didn't want any more to do with this.
I think that's sort of admirable in a lot of ways, you know, to not hang on to something and ride it into the ground, but step off at the top like that.
The network attempted to continue the show with Bea's 3 co-stars and a new title, The Golden Palace. But without Bea, the show didn't have the same magic.
I think we were all just tired, and I wish we had all had Bea's good sense to go out on top gracefully and not listen to the needs of other people whose motives might not have been as pure.
After I left Golden Girls, I thought, I don't know what I want to do. I really don't. I haven't the faintest idea what I wanted to do.
Throughout the 1990s, Bea enjoyed a semi-retirement and limited her work to a few plays and television guest spots.
I worked in so many areas. I mean, I used to get quite a laugh when I said the only things I haven't done are rodeo and porno.
In 2000, she played a whacked-out babysitter on the offbeat comedy Malcolm in the Middle.
Playing with my imaginary friend, and Reese hit me because he said I shouldn't talk to myself.
Well, Reese is a horrid little boy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having an imaginary friend. I talk to my Harold all the time.
You do?
Of course. He's here right now.
Would you like a cookie?
Sure. No. He's over there.
The performance brought Bea her 11th Emmy nomination and secured her status as television gold.
But what I didn't want to do was another, series, because it takes too much out of me.
Since her failed nightclub days, Bea had always dreamed of doing a one-woman show.
She said to me during Maude, I don't really want to act. I want to sing in front of an orchestra. That's what I want to do. So she's been sort of stifling this desire, and she's been doing acting.
I said to her then, I said, you just have to do a show where you can show all the different sides of you.
I figured, why the hell not? Rather than wait around, so I don't want to do a series, and rather than wait around for another fabulous role, like Gypsy or something, that let's do something on our own. So Billy and I, over a number of years, put together a one-woman show.
She enlisted the help of her good friend Billy Goldenberg, and together they created a show of songs and stories from Bea's life.
When she sang, she was so moving, and it was so what you don't think she would sing.
My height, just average. My weight, just average. And my IQ is like you'd estimate, just average.
Now, with this one-woman show, she got to do a little bit of narration and tell some jokes, a couple of really raunchy ones by my standards, and do some songs throughout her career.
Through song, Bea has shared stories about her early days as a struggling actress in New York and her rise to television stardom.
I think we hit 32 cities in a year. But then we went to Broadway, and it was wonderful, wonderful.
It's amazing when you think, oh yeah, Mom's a great singer. Mom, I forgot, she doesn't only make good sandwiches. She makes whole auditoriums of people stand up and applaud.
When not receiving standing ovations, Bea is happily spending time with her family, which now includes a baby granddaughter.
Well, she loves being a grandmother. She loves Kira. She comes over every 2 weeks to see the progress.
Also considered part of the family are Bea's 2 Dobermans, Emma and Alvin.
Since we were little, we've always had dogs, we've always had animals. And Mom tends to name animals people names and talk to them like about their problems.
Albert, come on, come with us. Albert does not trust us.
Bea loves dogs. She loves big dogs.
The remains of a poop.
You could confuse the bark of these dogs with the bark of Bea.
Bea has extended her love of animals to her charitable work.
Hi, I'm Bea Arthur. Please call Peter for free information on effective animal-friendly brands.
Bea also keeps up with the friends she's made over the years.
I don't have the words to express how much I love that woman and how much she has given me, because in addition to making a very successful show, which she and that great company made, she personally has caused me to laugh as I've never laughed at anyone ever before.
Bea is one of the most loyal people that you'll ever know. And she is loyalty itself to me, and I to her.
And with her one-woman show, Bea has cast herself as the diva she was told she would never be.
I am having such a good time now, doing something that I feel is sort of the fulfillment of everything that I've done, and I'm accomplishing what I wanted all my life, and wearing the white gown.